Well, so let us now today talk about very important concept, that is dynamic memory allocation. So what is dynamic memory allocation and how we can use it in our programming, we will see. See, whatever we have done earlier is about static allocation. In the sense, if I say uh, when I say int I is equals to 10, you know that I is a variable to which 2 bytes of memory is allocated. And when it is given as the first statement in the program, the memory is allocated to these variables statically. Means before, at the time of compilation itself, the memory is allocated. And we have done some programs, a lot of programs, and also in case of arrays, if you might have remember that I just want to store n numbers into an array. So when I want to store n numbers into an array, if you remember that I told you this solution that we have to declare an array of size which is somewhat larger, like we have to declare an array of size 100, and then out of which later on we have to read the value of n and we have to use. So the problem with this statement here is lot of memory has been wasted. So to overcome this particular problem where the memory has been wasted, so we have a concept in C, that is dynamic memory allocation. So what is this dynamic memory allocation? The allocation of memory as and when required in a program is known as dynamic memory allocation. Now, the memory is not allocated in the compile time, but rather during the execution of the program, the memory is allocated. At an instant, we are going to request some amount of memory, the required memory, and then if it is available, the memory is allocated, and it is means now you can use that memory to store your data. So the allocation of memory as and when required in the program is known as dynamic memory allocation. So in this concept, the allocation of memory is done during the execution of the program. So to use this dynamic memory allocation, we have a header file called alloc.h. Means in our programs, we need to use a header file called alloc.h. We have to include it alloc.h, which contains some functions which are used for allocation and deallocation of memory in the program. So alloc.h is used, means the first statement in our program should be the hash include alloc.h. So it should be hash include alloc.h. So once you are writing this first statement here, now it contains some functions like which are shown here. We have malloc, free, calloc, and talloc. 4 functions are there. So these functions can be used to allocate the memory. Now, first, if we talk about malloc, and we will see how we can use malloc. This function is used to allocate the requested number of bytes from the free pool of memory. So there will be a free pool of memory, and from that free pool of memory, what you are going to do here is you are going to allocate, you are going to request for a specific number of bytes of memory, and if it is available, it is allocated, and the address of that memory is stored in a pointer variable. So the syntax for this is like this one. So is type pointer variable name. Okay. Typecasting the log of the size. So how much size of memory is required? So this is how we are going to, means this is what is the syntax of this particular malloc function here, the syntax of malloc function. So see, let us understand this with an example. Now I will say int some star p, int star p. Okay, now I will say p equals to okay. So malloc of size. So you know that for integer we requires 2 bytes of memory. Simply you can say malloc of 2. So then whatever the number is specified here as a size, those many bytes of memory will be allocated and the address of that particular memory block will be stored in a pointer P. Okay, so malloc of 2, or you can give it as malloc of 2, or you can simply say size of, you can use the size of operator, size of integer. So as I often said that some compilers may use 4 bytes of memory to store an integer. So because we don't know how many bytes of memory will be allocated in our system, simply can say size of int. So the size of int is going to return how many bytes of memory is actually been allocated by the compiler in our system. So if it is 2 bytes of memory, if it is 4 bytes of memory will be allocated. Now, another very important point here is when you say malloc of size of int there, malloc actually allocates a void memory. Void in the sense, you know that void is meant for nothing, a memory which is nothing, meant for nothing. So next what you have to do, this memory which is meant for nothing need to be typecasted. Typecasting, you know that typecasting is nothing but changing one data type into another. So what you are doing here is instead of allocating the memory means you are typecasting like this. So you are saying star, int star. So the meaning of this particular statement is, so int means malloc will allocate the size of specified size of memory, that is 2 bytes of memory, which is been timecasted, and it is going to store an integer value. It is going to store an integer value. Okay, so the address of that particular memory which has been allocated will be pointed by theme, and rest you can do rest in the program. See, like I will simply write a program now here. Okay, I will write a program. See, in RP int star p is equals to int star malloc of size of int. So the memory has been allocated and it is stored in the. Now from here, now for example, printer, enter a number. So you want to store a number. Enter a number. Then scanf %d, because the address is stored in P, simply you can say P here. Because the memory which has been allocated, the 2 bytes of memory is been actually stored in P, so you're directly giving P here. So once the number is stored, if you want to see what number has been stored there, you can simply so write like value stored in P %d, comma, so star P, because it is P contains the address, the value stored at P now is star P. So the value at that address is being displayed. Value stored at the address has been displayed. Right. Now see here. The function allocates a block of memory and returns a pointer to which points the first byte allocated space or a memory block. If the allocation is not successful, it is going to return a null value. So it is going to return a null value if the memory is not available, otherwise it is going to store the value. So in this program, the same program I have written here, int star p is equal to int star malloc of size of integer. Then you can say enter a number p and the value is being stored. So that is how we can allocate the memory dynamically. Okay, using malloc. Okay, I will talk about calloc. Just ignore this statement here. Now, next is now if you want to allocate the memory for a single dimension array. You want to allocate a memory for a single dimension array. Now, see here, what I can do here is same int star p malloc of. So how many elements are there? So let us do that program once again. This program means the program where we are going to allocate store n number of n numbers into an array and display them. So now today I'm going to ask, before I allocate the memory, now I'm going to ask, enter the value of n. Enter the value of n. And scanf %d %d comma ampersand of n. And value is obtained. Now I will request int star malloc of n into size of integer, n into size of integer. Now for suppose we have entered n value here as some 9. So because to store an array, so generally to store 9 numbers, I need to have an array like this. Right. So instead of that, now dynamically we are accepting a number and we are asking the user. We are asking the user to enter the n value. The value of n is been entered here. So n into size of integer. So 18 bytes are been allocated. So from here, the rest is same for I equals to 0, I less than, and I plus plus, enter a number, scanf %d, same like you use for arrays. You can means while reading the normal arrays without pointers, the same thing you can continue. P of I. So 9 elements have been created. If n value is 9, then P of 0 to P of 8 numbers have been scanned. Then if you want to display, again for I is equals to 0, I is equals to 0, value stored is end of this one now, P of I. Got it? So like this, we can create an array of size n here, and we can enter the values. Okay, so this is how what you can use. It can be done using malloc function. Then. So here it is, p is equal to int star malloc of 10 into size, because here you are going to store n element, 10 elements. So directly I have given 10 here. So if it is of n elements, you can scan the value like I have just done it, and then you need to give n here, and then you can allocate. Means after the allocation, you can use that memory. Okay. So once again, I repeat. So malloc is actually used to allocate the memory dynamically. So its syntax is we need to declare a pointer variable, and malloc will allocate the specified number of bytes of memory here. So malloc of size, whatever the size which you are mentioning here, that many bytes of memory is allocated, and it is an void memory which needed to be typecasted. So for typecasting, we have to cast it. Typecasting is nothing but converting one type of memory into another. Okay, so like we have done just now, we have entered a number here, int n. Then we have said p is equals to int star malloc of n into size of integer. Means whatever the value n is given, even if you give 100 also, 100 into size of integer. If suppose 2 bytes, 100 into 200 bytes of memory is allocated. If n is some 50 into 200. If n is some 65 into 2, 130 bytes of memory is allocated, and then you can access the elements like this easily. Okay, so this is about malloc. Another very important concept here is it is the responsibility of the user to allocate the memory and free the memory dynamically. So once the memory is allocated, after using it, the last statement before we quit, we need to deallocate the memory. For deallocation, we have a function called free, which is used to deallocate the memory. So it is going to release the memory. Simply you can say free pointer, then the memory is deallocated. So like I have used it in the program. Of course, not mentioned it. See, I will do one thing. Here it is. After once allocation of is done, the duty of the user is to free the memory. Free P. So when you say free P, whatever the memory is allocated, that is been freed there. Likewise, in the other statements also, the last statement will be should be free P. The last statement should be free P. I will explain this program now. Free. Okay. Now, say let us discuss now this program now, the third program of the day. So in this, we are going to declare the memory dynamically for an multi-dimensional array, means a two-dimensional array. So if you remember in our class, in the previous class here, I just discussed about this particular concept. In a multi-dimensional array, when a pointer and a multi-dimensional array, what we are doing instead of means in this, if you remember this syntax, we are missing the first expression, and we are writing the name of the array in the brackets. I told this in the class already. I told you in the class that we need not write the first expression. We'll start second expression. Then we discussed that day that the first expression is given dynamically. First expression is given dynamically. The same thing we are doing here. If you see that int star p of 4, the 3 is not given here. So instead of declaring it, I will write it like this. So actually, I just want to declare it like this: p of 3, 4. It is my intention actually. It may be any value. Don't go the thing that only 3 should be used. So int star malloc of 3 into 4 into size of integer. Once 3 into 4 into size of integer is given, now 12 bytes of memory is allocated. Now it is a multi-dimensional array where you can point the elements from p of 0, 0, p of 0, 1, p of 0, 2, 0, 3, likewise up to p of 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, like that. So once you have declared the memory dynamically like this, now you can use it. You can use it like this: for I is equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus for 4. Then here, see this one, scanf percentage d ampersand of p of y. So this is one regular thing which you are using, regular thing. So you have just declared an array here. It is of p of 3, 4. So here I can write it here. It is better that I mention it here. That here it is 3, 4. Then the memory is allocated. After the allocation of the memory, you are going to read the values into an array, and once the values are read, then the values are displayed in a matrix format here. See, this notation is regular notation. I discussed about this notation in the class also. So this actually specifies the address. This actually specifies the address. You can use in either way. You can go for p of ij, or you can go for star of p plus I plus j. That is one notation. And then you can go for means while displaying also, because this is an address. If whole star is presented, then it will. Is my screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
No. This star of p plus I plus j. Okay. So this gives you the address. Now the whole star, if you put the whole star, then it will give you the value. Okay. This is how we can allocate the memory dynamically using malloc function. So now, any doubts for anyone? You can just unmute and ask me. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any doubt? Did you follow? Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I'm following, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So meanwhile, while the class is going on, I request all of you to be in the mute position. Okay, because it won't be any disturbance. Okay. If any question you want to ask, just unmute yourself and then you can ask. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Now, next, see. Using it is not just only the malloc function which you can use to allocate the memory. You can also use cloc. Cloc is also used to allocate the memory at the runtime for storing the derived data types. Mainly for arrays, cloc will be the better option. Instead of malloc, cloc would be the better option here. So it allocates, cloc allocates multiple blocks of storage here. Each block is being of same size, then set all the bytes in the memory of block to 0. Okay, so what is the difference between cloc and malloc here? Cloc also do the same thing. It is going to allocate the memory. Okay, so the only difference here is when you are using cloc, you're going to split the syntax like this. So the syntax will be like this. So it is of the number of blocks, comma, size of each block. So you are going to mention the number of blocks here, and then you are going to mention the size of each block. So for example, just see here, the syntax. Here. Just compare. Same to the pointer variable. Typecasting is common. Here you are going to use cloc. Now here you mentioned size as 1. Here you are going to separate how many blocks of memory you want to it is required for you, and what is the size of each block. What is the size of each block? Okay, like for example, see here. So this is malloc. The same statement I'm going to use write using cloc also. Int star cloc of 1. How many numbers you want to store? You just want to store 1. What is the size of that block? It is the size of int. It is the size of int. Size of int. So one block is created and the size of integer. Like same statement. So it is better used here. It is better used here. For instance, for example, so t is equals to int star cloc of n comma, I want n numbers. What is the size of each number? Size of integer. The same, rest all is same. Only the difference here is you're just separating, you're giving it in two ways, as two parameters here. First parameter specifies the size of, first parameter specifies the size, how many number of blocks are required. The second parameter specifies the size of each block. So that is what is only the difference. Okay. Now this is the best way for allocating the derived data types like arrays, structures you can use. So you can clearly specify how many blocks are required and what is the size of each block. See, I will just compare this with an analogy, with a simple example. Now for assume that you want 4 blocks of memory. Just I'm comparing. See, just your classroom environment I'm comparing. Now you take a bench. So in a bench, I almost observed that 3 to 4 students are sitting here. For example, I just want a memory where I can allocate four members. So then I can go for malloc. then p is equal to int star malloc of 4 into size of integer. Now what happened here is I can compare it with the bench there. One bench where it is capable of making 4 students to sit will be allocated. A continuous block of memory is allocated in which 4 students, so 4 numbers can be stored there. Whereas if you are going CLOC, it is also going to allocate the memory for 4 members. Now it's not benches. Just assume it is a 4 chairs placed one after the another. 4 chairs which are kept one after the another are being used to make them store them. అంటే నేను ఏమంటున్నానంటే ఇక్కడ ఒక బెంచ్ ఉందనుకోండి, ఒక బెంచ్ లో నలుగురు అంటే కంటిన్యూ, ఇక్కడ MLOC కూడా కంటిన్యూస్ బ్లాక్ ఆఫ్ మెమరీ అలొకేట్ చేస్తుందండి, CLOC కూడా కంటిన్యూస్ బ్లాక్ ఆఫ్ మెమరీ అలొకేట్ చేస్తుంది. డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటంటే MLOC ఒక బెంచ్ లాగా కంటిన్యూస్ బ్లాక్ ఆఫ్ మెమరీ ఉంటుంది. ఆ కంటిన్యూస్ బ్లాక్ లో మీరు ఏం చేస్తారు, 4 మెంబర్స్ అయితే 4 మెంబర్స్ ని స్టోర్ చేయడానికి యూస్ చేస్తారు. అదే CLOC అనుకోండి, అది కూడా కంటిన్యూస్ ఉంటుంది, బట్ like chairs, 4 chairs are placed one after the another, and now 4 numbers can be means you can place 4 numbers there. Rest all thing is same. Now another very interesting difference between MLOC and CLOC is when you are allocating memory using CLOC, all the allocations are initialized to 0 by default. By default, all the allocations are initialized to 0, whereas the default allocation contains undefined value. Means the garbage values contained when you are using MLOC function, but the default memory allocation will be 0 when you are using CLOC. Okay, and here also allocate single contiguous block of memory. Like I told, a bench which is single contiguous block of memory is allocated using MLOC, whereas CLOC allocates the number of memory in a continuous form. Means like chairs which are placed in a continuous forms there. So MLOC needs only 1 argument to allocate the memory, whereas CLOC needs 2 arguments to allocate the memory. So generally it is used for the basic data set. Generally the allocation is used for basic data types, whereas CLOC it is used for the derived data types. Like arrays are used to store the data here. Arrays are used for CLOC. When you're using CLOC, arrays will be the good candidate for allocating the memory here. Right, so that's why I mentioned in the program also. If I mention in the program that see here, p is equal to install CLOC of size of integer. So it is actually here you can say, you should say 1 comma size of integer. Whereas if in case of here you can say 10 comma, because I want to store 10 elements, so 10 elements are mentioned separately, then the size of each element is been mentioned here. In case of this 2D array there, 3 into 4, 12 bytes of means 12 elements are required, and what is the size of each element is mentioned separately, and rest of the program is same. Okay, so this is very important concept, because it is used the same concept can be is used in structures, and also in data structures it is mainly required. So I just want you people, if you are having any doubt, you can just ask me. Understood the difference between CLOC and MLOC?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm continuing now. So next I'm continuing after this. Next we have array of pointers. Next concept is array of pointers. So it is possible to create array of pointers which are used to store addresses. So it is possible for us to store the addresses there. So you know that when you're using the pointer int star p, so it can store only one address, whereas in case of int star some 5, now this is actually capable of storing 5 addresses now. So this is an array of pointers where it is used for storing 5 addresses. Okay, 5 addresses. right? Like see here, int a of 5. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 5 addresses are there. Int star p of 5. Now can store 5 addresses. So p of 0 is equals to ampersand of a of 0. Now we are having two addresses here. We are having two addresses, sorry, an array of size 5 elements. Okay. Now this is an array here, and there is another array which is having 5 elements here. Right. Now this, if you assume that now this array is A, this array is A here, an array. Now it contains values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So when you say ampersand of a of 0, so when you say ampersand of a of 0, the address of this particular array is stored in this. The address is stored in this. And p of 0 is equals to ampersand of a of 0. Likewise, p of 1 is equals to ampersand of a of 1. P of 2 is equals to ampersand of a of 2. Now you can access the elements here in two ways, either using a of 0, or you can say, because it contains p of 0 contains the address of a, then you can say star p of a, then you have means star p of 0, then you have can access the element in two ways. You can access the element directly as a of 0 or a of 5, or you can say star p of 5, because you're storing the address there. Because you're storing the address there, you can access the element like that. Got it? So arrays of pointers are used, means you can create arrays of pointers and you can store the addresses. That is another concept here. Then you have multi-dimensional array of pointers there. So we have seen pointer to a multi-dimensional array, and we can have a multi-dimensional array of pointers. So the difference between the pointer to a multi-dimensional array and multi-dimensional array of pointers is, just now I discussed that you're going to miss out the first expression there, and you're going to place the array name in the brackets. But in case of multi-dimensional arrays of pointers, the last expression is missed. See here, this is the regular syntax. This is the regular syntax, array name of expression 1, expression 2, expression 3, so on expression n. But in case of this, they're going to write up to only expression n minus 1. Up to n minus 1 only we have written. The last expression is omitted when writing an array of pointers, whereas the first expression is omitted when defining a pointer to a group of array. So when defining a pointer to a group of array, so you're going to miss out the first expression. So like for example, I just want to declare like this, int a of 5, 6. Now it is written as only int star a of 5. So how the 6 is given? Again dynamically. Again it is given dynamically. And also if you want to access the third row, fourth column element. So if you want to access the third row, fourth column element, it can be obtained like this. A of 2, 3, or this is the regular one, which you know already, a of 2, 3, or you can say star of a plus 2 plus 3. This star of a plus 2 plus 3 will give you actually the address here. Will actually give you the address, whereas in case of this particular, the entire thing will actually give you the value. This entire thing will give you the value. So a of 2 plus 3 will give you the address, whole star will give you the value. Got it? So this is what we can use using, the difference between. So in interviews, they may ask you what is the difference between pointer and multi-dimensional array and array of pointers. In pointers and multi-dimensional arrays, the first expression is omitted and the first expression is given dynamically. Here is the way which we have actually used. Star of a plus 2 plus 1 will give you the address, whole star will give you the value. Whereas in case of pointers and multi-dimensional array of pointers, so the first expression, the last expression is omitted and it is actually declared dynamically. Okay, got it? Now Another very important topic is about pointers and arrays of strings. Array of strings. It is possible for us to declare arrays, to create an arrays of strings of different sizes. Now this is also meant for actually mm, reducing the minimizing the wastage of memory. For minimizing the wastage of memory, this particular concept can be used. So pointers can be associated with the arrays of strings to enable the users to store variable number of columns. Okay, strings of different length for different rows. So like for example, character arrays rows of varying length actually are called as character arrays of varying length are called as ragged arrays. Means you're just dragging arrays here. Means the arrays are arrays been and it is better handled using pointers. So you can declare it like this: int star name of 4. 4 names I'm storing here like Kakinada, Rajahmundry, whichever one. So when you store like this, so now see here, name of 0 is of length 9, name of 1 is of length 11, name of 2 is of length 11, name of 3 is of length 6 here. So different sizes. Generally what happens, you know that in general we will declare like this. In general we will declare it into some char of generally say in some char of some s of I want to store 5 names of size 20. Now here what happens, 5 names can be stored obviously, you know that, but because you are allocating the space 20 for each name, some bytes may be used and some bytes may not be used. So there is a wastage of memory. To avoid that, you can go for this ragged arrays here, where arrays of different sizes can be created. So when using ragged arrays, we cannot accept values into an arrays using scanf or getters. The problem with this here is when you're using ragged arrays, we cannot accept the values into the arrays directly using scanf and getters. Instead, you have to go for the other way. I will show you how we can do it. Now see how to create an array dynamically. Using pointers, multi-dimensional arrays of pointers. First using integers, I'm showing you here. Then I will talk about the ragged arrays. See, int star p of 5. P of 5 means 5 pointers you can store, but it is a multi-dimensional array. So what is the size of array I'm asking here? I'm asking what is the size of array? Size of each integer row. Now another very point to identify here is these ragged arrays can be applied only to character arrays only. Ragged arrays cannot be integer arrays or floating point arrays. Means numeric arrays cannot be ragged arrays. So that's the reason why here I am asking what is the size of integer row. Are you able to listen?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now see this. Hello? Yes, see this. When you say
Yes,
P of
sir.
I is equal to n star malloc of n into size of n. Now what happens here is P of 0, an array of size n. Now for assume that you are giving n as 3, n as 3. Then what happens here is an array of size, array of size 3 is created, and it is pointed by using this P of 0. P of 0 means P of 0, 0, P of 0, 1, P of 0, 2. This is P of 0. It is pointed by P of 0. And in the next iteration, when you say I plus plus, P of 1 is equal to again int star malloc of n into size of integer. Now P of n will be pointing to another array now. P of 1 and another array is created here. Again n plus plus, suppose P of 2. Likewise, 5 arrays will be created. And then after scanning is same. Once the 5 arrays are created, means like if I show it as whole, if I show it as whole, 5 arrays will be created here. Five arrays will be created. Each of size 3, because the n is given as 3, 5 arrays will be created. Now this points to P of 0, P of 1, P of 2, P of 3, P of 4. Now this is P of 0, 0. This is P of 0, 1, P of 0, 2, P of 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, P of 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, like that. Arrays will be created. Rest all the thing is same. You can scan the numbers and then you can display. So this all stuff already you have done many times. Okay, you can go for the new thing which you have just learned. You can go using this syntax also, or you can simply use, because if you are confused, then go for with regular syntax. This is what is used for creating an integer arrays. Ragged arrays, see, when it is of numeric arrays, see how intelligently we are using this concept. How intelligently we are using a concept here. Now, name of 5. So I'm creating name of 5. I'm just minimizing the arrays here. Temp of 30. So I just want to store 5 names here. And another array, temp of 30 has been created. Now, for I is equals to 0, enter name. First name is given and it is stored in temp. It is stored in temp. Assume that first name is given as Vizag. The first name is given as Vizag. Let us assume that. Now, str of y, the first array, str of str here. Name of I is equals to char star malloc of strlen of temp strlen of temp plus 1. Now assume that in temp you are given Vizag. So what is the length of temp here? 5. 5 plus 1. What is the purpose of plus 1 here is to store the null value. Okay. So malloc, so 5 bytes of memory is allocated into size of cap. So 5 bytes of memory is allocated and memory is 5. Now I'm copying the temp Vizag into name of 0. Like for example, here Kakinada, Kakinada is given. For example, name of 0, Kakinada is given. So let me just compare this. Assume, once again I will start and explain you very clearly that assume that the name of 0, sorry, temp contains Kakinada. Assume that temp contains Kakinada. Now, name of 0 is equals to char star. So we are typecasting malloc of strlen of Kakinada. What is the length of Kakinada? 8 plus 1. 9 bytes of memory is allocated. Okay. And then you're copying Kakinada into name of 5. Like this, an array is created. Like this, an array is created. Like the first line which is mentioned here. Okay. And it is stored. I plus plus next one. Rajmundry. It's given Rajmundry. Again, temp contains Rajmundry now. Again, char star malloc of strlen of Rajmundry. It is of now 10 here. 10 plus 1. 11 bytes of memory is allocated. and in that 11 bytes, whatever is there in temp, it is copied. So Rajahmundry is stored. Next, if you give Vijayawada, again 11 bytes. Next, if you give Vizag, so 6 bytes of memory is allocated. So for suppose last one is given as KKD, for example. So 4 bytes of memory is allocated, and those values are stored. The only thing means after storing that, you can just display the values. Right. I hope just compare these two and understand. This is direct allocation, this is direct assignment here, and this is what actually the allocation of memory. Okay, allocation of memory dynamically here. It reduces the wastage of memory. It reduces the wastage. Clear? Any doubts? Any doubts?
Sir.
No, sir.
Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Final two topics are there. Just will conclude them in another 5 to 10 minutes. And the next is multi-dimensional pointers. So it is possible to have multi-dimensional pointer. It is possible to have a multi-dimensional pointer. It is actually known as double pointer. Means a pointer to a pointer. A pointer to a pointer. In the sense, for instance, you have an you have already, for example, int I is equals to 10. So there is a element I which contains 10. So when I say int star p equals to ancent of I, then you have another variable, means variable pointer variable which stores the address of I. It stores the address of I. Assume that the address of I is, for instance, the address of I is some 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this contains 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what you have here, the concept here is you have a double pointer. You have a double pointer. Int double star dp, a double pointer, equals to ancent of I. Now this also contains variable. Now it's supposed to assume that the address of P is some 2, 3, 5, 6. Now this contains 2, 3, 5, 6. The address of P is stored in this. Now the value in I can be accessed in 3 ways now. You can simply say I, or you can say regular star P, or you can say double star dp. The value of I can be now obtained in 3 ways there. Only you can say I, star P, and double star dp. That's what I have just shown you here in the program. Double star dp, double pointer P is pointer is equals to ancent of I, D pointer is equals to ancent of PTR. The value can be obtained now in the 3 ways. We have this multi-dimensional pointers in C. Okay. Next we have another concept. The final concept under pointers is about creating a function pointers. So like you have created pointers, pointer arrays, you can have a function pointer. The function pointer can be of having the syntax there. So what is the purpose of function pointer? You can indirectly invoke a function using this function pointer. Okay, So the syntax for this is return type. Now here the type specifies what is the return type of the function. Then strictly you have to name the function pointer name in the brackets. You have to write the function pointer name in the brackets. Then you have to have this open bracket, close bracket. This is a complete syntax here. So if there is open bracket, close bracket at the end of the pointer variable name, the meaning of that is it is a function pointer. Means it can store, it can hold the address of a function here. Now you can use the function pointers to indirectly calling the functions here. So how actually see this example? Say we have string.h. Already we have discussed this. We have a header file called string.h where we are having lot of header files in this. Now in this header file, we are taking the address of strlen. See, this is a function pointer. The highlighted thing here is a function pointer. Okay. The highlighted thing here is a function pointer. Now len is equals to strlen. When I say len is equals to strlen, the address of strlen is stored in len now. Now what happens once after entering the string here in these two statements? Now instead of writing L is equals to strlen of str, because the address of strlen is stored in len, I can say now star len of str. Star len of str. Because len contains the address of strlen, you can invoke the function, the strlen function, using the new name here. The new name, because this len is storing the address of strlen in L, and then you can display the length of the string. Got it? That is one. Another example, just for practice, and another example here, you have a function called check, which is actually accepting two strings as string pointers as arguments, and then it is accepting a function pointer int star p. It is going to return an integer. So star compare. So I'm going to invoke strcmp function using the. We learned that strcmp is used to compare the pointers there. Now we have char str1 of 30, str2 of 30, and we have the return type here. It is a function pointer. Now c is equals to strcmp. So I'm storing the address of strcmp. strcmp, where it actually is strcmp, it is in string.h header files. Now it is stored in C now. So entering two strings have been entered. Get us of str1. So two strings are been scanned here. Then I'm saying check of str1. So you know that the name of the address contains, the name of the array contains the address of the first location. You're just passing the address, the first string's address, array name to array name, and you are passing and those are being stored in this A and B respectively. And C contains C is a function pointer which holds the address of strcmp. Now it is stored in cmp here, and here you are invoking. Actual invocation is strcmp of a comma p. Instead of this, now I'm writing it as star of a comma p. Okay, if n is equals to 0, if n is 0, you can simply say strings are equal, otherwise strings are not equal. Okay, so this is how we can actually use the function pointers. The address of the function is stored in this function pointer, and indirectly we are invoking it. That's it. Okay, so that's it for today. So we will continue in the next class. So before leaving, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Any doubts for anyone? Which program? Which program you want me to execute? Okay, Vijay, any doubt? Unmute yourself and tell me. Vijay? Durga Prasad, what is your doubt, Amma?
సార్ అదే మెలాక్ అండ్ కెలాక్ ఉంది కదా సార్, అందులో కెలాక్ లో కంటిన్యూస్ మెమరీ అలొకేషన్ అంటే ఎగ్జాంపుల్ గా చైర్ బై చైర్ అని చెప్పారు కదా సార్.
అవునమ్మా.
దాంట్లో అంటే స్పేస్ ఉంటుంది సార్ దానికి.
స్పేస్ ఏం లేదమ్మా, అంటే మీకు ఏదైనా సరే కంటిన్యూస్ గానే అలొకేషన్ అనేది జరుగుతుంది. ఓన్లీ డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటంటే ఎంఎల్ఆఫ్ లో అంటే నేను కంపారిజన్ ఇచ్చానంటే ఒక కంప్లీట్ ఫ్లాట్ మెమరీ వచ్చేసి అందులో మీరు ఏంటంటే స్టోర్ చేసుకుంటారు వాల్యూస్. అక్కడ కూడా 2 బైట్సే మీకు ఇంటీజర్ లో స్టోర్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్తారు. ఇందులో ఏంటంటే కంటిన్యూస్ గా చైర్ వేసినట్టు అందులో కూడా ఒక్కొక్క చైర్ లో ఒక్కొక్క నెంబర్ ని పెట్టుకుంటూ వెళ్ళినట్టు అవుతుంది అన్నమాట.
ఓకే సార్.
Vijay, which program? This one. Just unmute yourself and tell me. Are you there, Vijay?
Yes, sir.
Hello,
sir.
ఏ ప్రోగ్రామ్ అమ్మా? ఇదా?
Second one, sir. Second one.
ఇదేనా ఇప్పుడు హైలైట్ చేసిందేనా?
Yes, sir. ఇదే సార్.
ఓకే ఓకే. సో నా చూడండి, ఇందులో ఏంటంటే స్ట్రింగ్ డాట్ హెచ్ లో ఉన్న strcmp తాలూకా అడ్రస్ ని నేను ఏం చేశానంటే ఇక్కడ సిలో స్టోర్ చేశానండి. ఇప్పుడు అదే అడ్రస్ ని అంటే 2 స్ట్రింగ్స్ ని దాని తాలూకా అడ్రస్ ని నేను ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడికి పంపించాను. సో ఇప్పుడు ఇందులో కూడా ఏముందండి, అడ్రస్ ఉంది, strcmp తాలూకా అడ్రస్ ఉంది. బికాస్ దిస్ ఫంక్షన్ ఈస్ యాక్చువల్లీ గోయింగ్ టు రిటర్న్ అన్ ఇంటీజర్ వాల్యూ అండ్ యూఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు కంపేర్. సో strcmp సింటాక్స్ మనం ఆల్రెడీ నేర్చుకున్నాం. ఇది వరకు ఇక్కడ మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తే strcmp compare 2 strings returns 0 if both strings are equal. It returns less than 0 if s1 is less than s2 and greater than 0 if s1 is greater than s2. Okay, so the same thing is done here. ఇప్పుడు దాని తాలూకు అడ్రస్ ఇక్కడ ఇందులో ఉంది, సిలో ఉంది. నేను పంపేటప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ స్ట్రింగ్ తాలూకు అడ్రస్, సెకండ్ స్ట్రింగ్ తాలూకు అడ్రస్, సి మూడు కూడా ఇందులో పంపిస్తున్నాను. సో ఇక్కడ కాల్ బై రెఫరెన్స్ అవుతుంది. అంటే మీరు ఏతో యాక్సెస్ చేసినా str1 తో యాక్సెస్ చేసినా అదే స్ట్రింగ్ ని మీరు యాక్సెస్ చేస్తున్నారు. సో 2 స్ట్రింగ్స్. సో సిలో strcmp తాలూకు అడ్రస్ ఉంది కాబట్టి ఆ అడ్రస్ ఇప్పుడు ఎందులో వచ్చింది, cmp లోకి వచ్చింది. సో నౌ n is equals to strcmp of a comma b. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ str1 లో కాకినాడ ఇచ్చారు, str2 లో కూడా కాకినాడ ఇచ్చారు. సో యాక్చువల్గా మీరు strcmp ఆఫ్ కాకినాడ అంటే రిటర్నింగ్ 0 అవ్వాలి. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా strcmp కాకుండా ఓన్లీ cmp అన్న పేరుతో మీరు ఏం చేస్తున్నారు, దాన్ని ఇన్వోక్ చేస్తున్నారు. సో ఈక్వల్ టు 0 అయితే స్ట్రింగ్స్ ఆర్ ఈక్వల్ అని వస్తుంది, అదర్వైజ్ స్ట్రింగ్స్ ఆర్ నాట్ ఈక్వల్ అనేది వస్తుంది. ఓకే, అర్థమైందా? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So we will continue. I will inform the next class. Same link you just maintain. I will also store the same link. So